Hey Manacast fans, this is Captain Jack Zastro saying what's up. So today I am going to continue my commander rants and I'm going to be talking about the color red. I'm going to be discussing basically my top 5 creatures and top 5 red spells for the commander decks. Now a lot of you are probably going to have opinions, which I completely welcome. Feel free to comment them. I'm going for fun factor and for mass damage factor, not capital douche factor. Because I used to play a deck with some red cards that were pretty douchey, and now I don't play commander with those guys anymore. So I decided, you know what, probably want to not use those. So I'm going to start with the creatures. My first creature that I have is the Bloodfire Colossus. This is a 6/6 giant for 8 that has the ability to pay red, blow him up, and he does 6 to everything. Sure, might seem like a big jerk, but doing 6 to everything is pretty entertaining, and it keeps the board wiped clean, which I'm kind of all about. So yeah, I recommend that one. He's pretty cool. Next up, I have the Bogardan Hellkite. The Bogardan Hellkite is, again, for 8. It's a 5/5. Many people will know this one. Has flash, flying, and when it comes into play, you get to do 5 damage divided out however you choose. Now, depending on how you built your deck, what your theme is, you can make this guy do 10, 20, 15, who knows how much damage. He's great. It's fun. I like him. Next one, from Rise of Eldrazi, I have Conquering Manticore. I love Manticores. I like flying creatures, and I like that red gets the occasional anti-sphinx, which is cool. Conquering Manticore gains control of a creature, and it gains haste for a turn, which is fun. One of the things that I think a lot of red decks like to do in Commander, or at least they should, is take people's creatures and then sacrifice them in some other way. I really like the idea of combining Conquering Manticore with Brian Stroudarm, the 4/4 flinging giant. He's pretty sweet. Next one, very common right now, is Magma Phoenix. Magma Phoenix is the 3/3 flyer for 5 that when it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, it does 3 damage to everything. Again, mass wipe. I like that kind of stuff. But you can bring him back, which is always cool. Next one. This one was from Onslaught, I think. Yep, Onslaught. And it was also found in the red-white Plane Chase deck. If you haven't gotten the Plane Chase decks, but you're into Commander, maybe you're just starting Commander, I really recommend to get some of those Plane Chase decks, because Plane Chase plus Commander is a lot of fun, and the Plane Chase decks were pretty much already Highlander. They were just 60 cards instead of 100, but a lot of good staples are in those decks as well. Menaced Ogre, anyway, is a 3/3 trample haster for 5 that when he comes into play, everybody picks a number, reveals those numbers, and the players with the highest number loses the game, or not loses the game, well, they will lose the game probably, but they lose that much life, and if it happens to be you, he gets 2 +1/+1 counters. So again, if you're running a green deck with Graft, you can add some Graft counters onto him besides, but the nice thing about him is that nobody really knows how much damage they're going to be taking unless they pick 0, but that just makes it easier for you. So I like cards that kind of mess with people's heads, especially when they're not blue. So red seems to do a pretty good job of that. So those are my 5 creatures. There's lots of great creatures out there. These, again, I was just kind of picking for fun without being total douchebag. Next up, my spells. My first spell, it's in every single Commander deck that I play red with in, Browbeat. Again, I love messing with people's heads. 5 damage, or I get to draw 3 cards. It's your choice. It's also a great political card because you can choose to let somebody else have the cards. It is target player, so you can be like, hey, maybe you don't want me to attack you. I'll give you 3 cards. Just don't touch my stuff. It's pretty much how it goes. I don't know. Browbeat's a great card for its cost, so really recommend it. Going right along with cards that feature Kamal on them, Breaking Point is my next one. It's the Red Wrath of God. Destroy all creatures unless somebody pays 6 damage to themselves, since it is damage. Again, if you have anything that multiplies damage, this could do 12 damage to them, which is really entertaining. It's a great way to get a good board wipe out for, again, 2 red and 1 colorless. Really cheap, so that's cool. Next, my other favorite one, I really like Wheel of Fate. Again, it messes with people's heads. You suspend it, they've got 4 turns to play as much crap from their hand. Otherwise, they're going to lose it all. This is also good if you like to play with some madness stuff. Black, red, green madness seems kind of possibly viable, especially with all this discard and deck manipulation now that seems to be from the commander sets, so that's really cool. Going right along with it, if they do play out before Wheel of Fate goes off, I really like to follow it up with a lucky Insurrection. Insurrection is the 3 red, 5 colorless, gain control of every single creature for the turn. Works really good because they play out, you steal all their creatures, and maybe you blow it up to draw cards, which you'll just pitch anyway, but there's lots of options. I don't know, I like Insurrection. Again, that card is also available in the red-white plane chase deck if you are interested in getting that card without buying the full deck of commander that it comes with. Last up is Winds of Change. This was available pretty much in Portal and Legends, so it's a little harder to find, but it's a real fun card. It costs 1 red, and it's every single player shuffles their hand back into their deck and then draws that exact same amount of cards. Blue has something similar to this, but red doesn't have a whole lot of hand draw, but this, again, can kind of mess with people's plans, especially if you're playing against a more precise player. It's really good for players who don't have like a super tuned deck and just like to mess with people. So those are my card suggestions for red. Again, not really going for, I'm going to win the game this turn. More or less just trying to have a good time, mess with people's heads, really do what red's all about. Just thought I'd share that with you. Next week, we'll do green.